Hey everyone, I'm Jaden.
And I'm Noah.
We are the Super Gamer Bros, and this is the Super Gamer Bros podcast. We're just a couple of brothers who love playing games and love talking about games, so that's what we do. So today, Noah, we are talking about Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption, obviously the archetype Wild West game in modern games history.
Yep, it was released in 2010 by the renowned developer Rockstar Games, which I feel like there's not really enough that can be said about Rockstar in terms of their contributions to gaming throughout the years. And Red Dead, I don't know how it was perceived when it came out because we weren't really too much into like the hardcore up to date gaming news scene that we are now. Back when Red Dead came out, but to me, it certainly seemed like it kind of came out of nowhere in terms of like a cowboy game didn't exist really. Like for the most part before Red Dead, and even then, it's a very rarely touched timeline.
It is rarely touched. I disagree though. I do think that there were cowboy games because there was Red Dead Revolver came first and it wasn't as popular, and there was also the Call of Juarez games. And I think what made Red Dead Redemption so popular was Rockstar took their open world formula that they perfected with GTA and just put the Wild West spin on it, and that made Red Dead Redemption just a cowboy playground, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, Rockstar made Revolver, so that one, like, it wasn't as big, I guess. And I actually was gonna mention Call of Juarez. Until I looked it up just now, I thought Call of Juarez was after Red Dead. At least the Call of Juarez game that we played, which was Bound in Blood, that I thought came out after Red Dead, but no, that came out before actually. So yeah, I guess I was just wrong there. But I mean, even then, like the Red Dead trilogy, if you can call it that, and Call of Juarez are the only two like AAA big Wild West games that I can think of.
That's true. I'm just saying the scale of Red Dead Redemption was so much more than that of all those other games combined in terms of like map size, not to mention DLC, online play, story length, gaming features. It's just so much in one package.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I think Red Dead, yeah, I think it like at the time it was one of the biggest video game maps that had ever been created, especially for console games. And I think everything you said is correct. It's certainly like Rockstar's style of game, like the third person action shooter, just really works well with a Wild West game. Yeah, I think this was the best Wild West game ever released up until Red Dead Redemption 2 was released.
For me personally, it still is the best Wild West game.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, I have opinions about Red Dead Redemption 2, but I assume that'll be its own episode.
That'll very much be its own episode. I feel like it would take way too long to talk about both of them in one. I can
Why don't
remember.
we just get into the setting?
Oh, I was just going to continue with stories, I guess. So, yes, we'll just go ahead, move on to the setting. So the game itself, the map is split into three large sections, which is you start out in New Austin, which is modeled after kind of like the American Southwest states like Texas and Arizona, New Mexico, that area. I don't think it reaches out into all three of those, but it's that area. And then a bit into the game, you end up actually traveling into Mexico, to Nuevo Paraíso. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah. That's modeled after areas in Mexico. And then after you kind of do the majority of what you have to do in Mexico, travel back to America, and the rest of the story is pretty much done in West Elizabeth, which is modeled after the Great Plains area and the Western Mountains.
Yeah, these are separated by the story sections, right?
Yeah, I mean, like if you look on the map, they are like three different sections, like kind of obvious where one ends and the other begins, both in like the actual like you know topography with the creatures and the plants and stuff found in each area, and obviously the cities, the type of people. But yeah, it is like I guess very much like Rockstar games before like GTA 4 with the three islands where you have to progress through the story before unlocking an area. The entire map is not open to you right from the beginning.
Right. I actually like that.
Yeah, I do too. I think it but recently playing through Days Gone, they sort of did something similar where you had to progress through the story to unlock different parts of the map. I do like that for just the reason of like I think especially with a map as big as Red Dead Redemption or as big as like Days Gone, just having it all open at the beginning, it's just too much. Like I just like see everything that I can do in all these areas, and it's like off-putting. It's one of those things where there's so much stuff that I'm like I don't know where to start, so I just don't start. But then I like when you condense it down to one smaller area. It certainly makes it a lot more manageable seeming. But the reason I bring up Days Gone is Days Gone actually did it in a way I didn't really like compared to Red Dead, where Red Dead, once you unlock an area, you can travel between like any areas you've unlocked. I don't think it locks you out of an area for a time. It might, but I don't remember it doing that. But in comparison, like Days Gone is split into like the North and South. And when you first unlock the South, you can't travel back north. And I didn't like that. It was just kind of annoying, I guess, in terms of how I like to play and complete games.
That's true. I don't like when story cuts off something you've already been working on. And that's why like I will do the side stuff before I do the story stuff at certain when I get to a certain part of a map because I don't want to miss out on all the side stuff there.
Yeah, no, you're saying. And I will give Days Gone credit that they give you plenty of warning when the mission you're about to do locks you out of the area you're in, because it literally says, hey, if you start this mission, you won't be able to explore the north for a bit. So, it does, I guess, it at least makes up for it a bit, but I still don't like that because, like you said, just I don't want to have to stop doing completion aspects of a story of an area for like I want to be able to do it if I want to do it. But yeah, those are those are the big three areas. Obviously, each area have your towns and your cities, and a
Like
lot
you
of.
said, they have different wildlife and people also, and weapons too.
So we'll move on to the story. One thing that's really cool about this game, which it doesn't really say here, I guess, but it's something that like if you like bought the game on disc, like it would say it on the back of the case and stuff. But yeah, the game takes place in 1911, which is towards the end of the like Wild West era of American history. And I like on the back of the case, kind of in like the little story description they give, it says like the West is dying. And I like that because like that is a big point of this game where like outlaws and like the whole like lifestyle of the West is dying at this point. Like America is becoming more civilized and stuff, which you see later when you go into like the towns in West Elizabeth, where they're more like cities and the people are more fancily dressed, and like you won't run into like outlaws and stuff in those cities because they're more modernized. Anyway, sorry, I thought you were gonna comment or something.
Oh
Um,
no, that's fine.
so in 1911, the family of former outlaw John Marston, who you play as, uh, one of I think the best protagonists in gaming history.
That's a lot of praise. I definitely think he's really good, and it goes to the writers of the game. All the writing in this game is superb.
Yeah, the writing and the voice acting I think is done very well as well. Also,
Amen.
uh, yeah, but I think like he's a guy who he definitely has put it politely a checkered past, and he like all he wants to do is just move on and leave that past behind him and be with his family. Of course, anyone with a past like that, a past of gang stuff like that, it's always gonna come back to you. And it does here when his family is kidnapped by the Bureau of Investigation agents Edgar Ross and Archer Fordham, who basically FBI style agents. They kidnap his family and are basically forcing him to go hunt down his former gang members in exchange for his family's return and like his peace. They'll leave him alone. Like if he takes out the rest of them, despite the fact that he is a criminal and an outlaw or ex-criminal, they'll leave him alone. He can just live his life with his family. So John first goes after former ally Bill Williamson from his old gang, who now actually leads his own gang that terrorizes the residents of New Austin. John arrives at Williamson's stronghold at Fort Mercer, but fails to persuade him to surrender, and it results in John being shot and left for dead. He's then rescued by local rancher Bonnie McFarlane, and you basically, in like the tutorial section of the game, you help her with several jobs around her farm, and you like while helping her, John is recovering from his injury, and he's formulating a plan to attack Williamson's gang. John makes a number of allies to help him carry out the attack. He goes to the nearby town of Armadillo and meets with U.S. Marshal Leigh Johnson. He meets con artist Nigel West Dickens, who is like like the snake oil type of person. Like Noah, I feel like the best.
You're gonna talk about Pete's Dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah. For any of you who've seen the original Pete's Dragon, he's just like the con artist in that.
He also meets treasure hunter Seth Briers, who is a like crazy treasure hunter person, and an arms smuggler that is just known as Irish. So basically, you spend the game, first majority of the game, doing missions for all of these guys, basically helping them with favors in exchange for them helping you take on the fort. Eventually, John and his allies storm Fort Mercer and kill all of Williamson's men, but John learns that Williamson has fled to Mexico to seek help from Javier Escuela, another former member of John's gang. And so then John parts ways with his allies and travels to Mexico.
I actually love the Mexico setting in this game. They do a good job of making like Mexico's deserts look unique to the United States desert. You know what I mean? So upon his arrival in Nuevo Paraíso, John becomes involved in a local civil war between Colonel Agustin Allende, the state's tyrannical ruler, and Abraham Reyes, the leader of a rebellion against Allende's government. John works on both sides of the field. He wants to stay neutral and doesn't really care about their feud. He just wants to track down Javier and Bill. So at some point, Allende decides to turn on John, and he is rescued by Reyes and vows to aid the rebellion in gaining an advantage in the war. During a raid on an army fortress, the rebels help him find Escuela, who reveals that Williamson is under Allende's protection. After killing or capturing Escuela, John hands him over to Ross and Fordham. Reyes eventually leads an assault on Allende's palace, and John helps him chase and execute Allende and Williamson when they attempt to flee. This leaves Reyes to rule Nuevo Paraíso and lead his revolution to Mexico's capital. John then returns to the United States, having killed Javier and Bill Williamson.
I agree with what you said earlier. I really like the Mexico section of the game. I thought it was really cool. It was very like unexpected. It was certainly an interesting aspect rather than just staying in America the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. I found it surprising also. And it was interesting that while you were in Mexico, nearly everybody there was Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much just John and Bill
Yeah.
who
No,
are
I
the
get.
Americans.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. So then, in Blackwater, which is a city in West Elizabeth, Ross and Fordham enlist John's help in tracking down Dutch Vanderlyn, who is John's gang's former leader and John's surrogate father. Dutch has recently formed a gang with disaffected Native Americans with whom he shares a hatred for the government and modernization. So basically, he's like, an old outlaw, wants times to stay the way they are. Very expected. There's a typical like old guy not wanting to go with all the new things. So, aided by Ross's associates, John finds Dutch's stronghold in the mountains. John helps Ross and thwart Dutch's robbery of the Blackwater Bank, and John partakes in the U.S. Army's assault on Dutch's stronghold. Chased to a cliff, Dutch concedes defeat and warns John that the Bureau will not give him peace before committing suicide. Afterward, Ross honors their agreement and allows John to be reunited with his family.
Yeah, I wanted to mention while you had here, you said that Dutch was like a surrogate father to John, and you mentioned earlier that John had a tragic life. I wanted to say that he was born in a brothel and lived on the streets until Dutch found him and he joined the gang. So that is really the only real, the closest thing to family he's ever known. Oh, yeah. So anyway, John returns to his ranch with his family, and that's his wife Abigail and his son Jack. Oh wait, Uncle goes too? Is that true? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, Uncle's there.
Oh wow, I had no idea. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, no, at the time, when I played through the game, obviously, I just thought he was like
some dude.
No, I thought he was like John's uncle.
Right.
He's older and stuff. And it wasn't until reading this that it was like, oh, it's Uncle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the cool thing is after
who
you
is
play Red Dead 2, you really get to know all these characters.
Yeah, it's Uncle, for anyone who hasn't played Red Dead 2, also a member of John's gang. Anyway, Noah, continue.
Yeah, so they all settle down and they attempt to have an honest life. However, their peace is short-lived as Ross betrays John and leads a small army in an attack on his ranch. John sends his wife and son away on a horse before he tries to fight the army himself and eventually falls. John, as well as Uncle, are both killed. So, the story continues until 1914 when Jack buries Abigail next to John Marston's grave and exacts revenge by killing Ross, who has recently retired. And that ends the game.
Really good story.
Oh, a great story. A classic Wild West tale,
Yeah. Like this was really surprising. This was one of the might have been like the first because I didn't play through the game in its entirety when it came out, so I don't know if I played this or GTA 5 first, but like I was surprised playing through it in its entirety when I did at just how good the story was.
Oh, 100%. It was for me the first Rockstar game I ever played, and the story was the main reason I enjoyed it, and the reason I played it multiple times.
No, I have nothing to add to that. Another obviously big aspect of this game is the gameplay, specifically the combat. This game is a third-person shooter. You have an arsenal of weapons to choose from. It's a game that has a weapon wheel. Basically, you have your like all your different categories. There's the revolvers and pistols, which is like one category for just whatever pistol you're using. Melee, which is a hunting knife. Shotguns, scoped rifles, and repeaters, which are just like smaller. Like a scope rifle is a sniper. Rifles, repeaters would be like what's that like? What's a famous Western rifle? Like a Smith and Wesson or something?
I don't know. I'm not a gun man. I'm blanking. Put me on this spot. You've got the internet. Anywho.
Yeah. Anyway, like just like and then you have your fists. You have a lasso, which is awesome. And then you have a throwing weapon, which can either be a Molotov, a stick of dynamite, or just throwing knives.
I don't mind weapon wheel systems in games as long as when you open them, time stops or slows down significantly. The variation of weapons in this game is pretty good. All of the guns are accurate, and a headshot is a kill with any weapon, so you can use pretty much any weapon you want throughout the entire game. and they're all fun to use. The lasso physics are done really well. It's fun to hog tie people up, tie them off of horses, drag them, tie them to other things, you know. The throwing weapons are done well. The Molotovs are a little bit weaker, but the dynamite is very strong.
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah, the lasso. I mean, it's just the coolest thing aspect of this game because originally when we had played this game, it was introduced to us by a friend of ours, same guy that introduced us to a lot of games actually, and he had brought over Red Dead, and we were playing it, and we like it was a point where like he'd stay over for a night and we'd just play the game the entire time he was there. So we didn't really play through story and stuff. So we would just we would play through story long enough to get to like where we could free roam, and then we would just free roam. And I could remember like just hours of us just going around, dragging people on horses, hog tying people, putting them on train tracks, and just so many different things you can do. It's just all like really, really enjoyed that.
That's true. Half of our entire game time might have been spent terrorizing the citizens of Armadillo.
Good times, good times. Um, so yeah, gunfights. Basically, being a third-person shooter, you can take cover behind objects. You can target specific person or animal. You can blind fire. You can also just free aim. Also, really cool. Especially, I don't have an experience of like paying close attention to the details in first-person shooters or third-person shooters before, but something that I always thought was really cool about Red Dead Redemption was the fact that you could aim at individual body parts in order to take down targets non-lethally. Like shooting someone in the leg wouldn't just kill them, or you could shoot them in the hand to disarm them, stuff like that. It wasn't just you shoot them until they're dead. There you could actually strategically do other things as well.
That's true, and that's cool because some people who play RPG games, I've heard a lot of people like to do pacifist runs.
Yeah, no, that's correct. I imagine there are some really cool pacifist runs of this game because you could absolutely just go through like shooting everybody in the hand to disarm them and then like hog tying them, or I mean, if you shoot them in the hand, I think they also just like run away or something because they can't really fight you back because they can't shoot. Anyway, this game also has Deadeye, which is a targeting system that allows the player to slow down time and mark targets. Once the targeting sequence ends, the player fires to all marked locations in extremely quick succession. Deadeye system upgrades as the player progresses and grants more abilities. It's also very realistic in terms of like ammo usage. Of you can target as much ammo as you're holding. Like revolver can only target 6 people because it only has 6 rounds, and any like rifle that has more, you can target more. The best thing I can compare this to would be is it VATS from Fallout?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Time is like in VATS, I think it literally just completely stops time while you're aiming. In Red Dead, I think it only slows it down, but it's like it slows it down so much that movement is negligible. And even then, I would say hitting is more automatic in Deadeye than in VATS.
Yeah, when hitting in Deadeye is 100%, hitting in bats is like on a percentage basis. Like you have a chance. It's
Yeah,
like a roll every shot.
and yeah, that's basically combat. It's there's also obviously you can get in fist fights. Is that
It
it's
was a rudimentary melee combat system in Red
Yep.
Dead Redemption. In 2, it's way more complicated, but
Yeah.
in the first one, I'm pretty sure it's like it's like the attack button and that's it. There might have
Um,
been a grab.
I think there's a dodge. I don't know about a grab, but I know for sure there was a dodge. It's like very rudimentary fighter. You have your attack button and your dodge button. So because like every fight would be like a boxing match. It's you just punch and dodge. It works. I think it's like definitely just because you have something like that in the game doesn't mean you have to make it super complicated and in depth. Just make it work. And most of the time, that's all you need.
I agree. I think it's way more fun.
So you're also it's an open world game, like we mentioned several times. You can use horses, which obviously a big part of any Wild West game. There are actually, different breeds of horses that you actually get deeds of ownership that you can buy. You can steal them. You can break wild horses. And the horses do actually have different stats based on the breed. All very much in line with Rockstar's attention to detail.
Yeah, that is actually really cool because it gives you a purpose in getting another horse. Because if there's no reason to other than aesthetic change, I will keep this same mount for the entire game.
I I guess for me it would depend. If for example, in Red Dead, where you do actually kind of have to put effort into it, of like spending a decent amount of money on it, or you have to actually do a mini game to break a horse. At that point, I wouldn't do that for aesthetics. But games that are something as simple as like Ghost of Tsushima, where it's like, hey, pick your horse, and all the horses are the same. It's just a different. I think like that I would be fine with switching at any point. Yeah, you can also the game does have a fast travel system in terms of train or carriage, which you do actually have to pay for train tickets or pay for a carriage ride, and it does cost like time to pass in the game. You can also literally sit there as the game travels you to the next location, and like turn on like the cinematic camera, different angles and stuff, just as you're going down the train tracks or going down the trail in a carriage, or you can just skip it and have a loading screen. It's up to you.
All right. So yeah, there's some additional gameplay mechanics. We have one of my favorites is hunting. You can hunt and skin any animal in this game for trading pelts and meat. Red Dead Redemption has a great economic system, and hunting is a huge part of that. It's really how I got most of my money, and I think the same goes for you. Another way, though, is bounty hunting. You can find bounties of outlaws, and you just go wherever they are in the world and hunt them down in their hideout, and you can kill them or try to bring them in alive for more money. I like that because it's really easy to run up and lasso somebody, and you get more money that way.
Yeah, so it's really cool they have that whole like dead or alive thing where you can't do either one, but bring them in alive, you get more money. And yeah, I like that. Like I did a lot of bounties when I played through, because I did I did a lot of bounties, get money, and I did bring like I don't think there was a single bounty I ever didn't bring in alive, because one, like, just it's fun to lasso people, and it's like not that annoying. I honestly don't know, because I never did dead, but really, like, it's not. I wouldn't even say it's any more inconvenient to bring them in alive, other than the fact that you can just shoot them from afar. But I think you still have to get their body at that point.
True.
So you also have random encounters. Really cool, really cool little thing where you can witness and partake in random events as exploring the game world. Usually, like, just like a little dot will just like appear on the map, and that's indicating an indication of an event. Where you can go to like a public hanging, and you can like potentially rescue the person that is being hung by like shooting the rope, because that's just the coolest thing ever. You can be ambushed by bandits on the road. There can be pleas for assistance from people. There can be just encounters with strangers. Ride-by shootings if you're in a carriage or like on a horse, and dangerous animal attacks. I think my favorite of these in my experience was probably the ambush, because they were always so cool, because it'd usually be like a woman or someone like next to a carriage that's like, help, help, and you get off your horse and like walk around the carriage with them, and then there's just six people all shooting, like pointing guns at you that just open fire.
Yeah, I love these too because they're so realistic and they're perfect for world building, random encounters like these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, I think they're done really well. Also, another thing I really like, there's gambling. There are six different things you can gamble on. There's Liar's Dice, a game where you have dice, poker, and blackjack, both card games. And then there is Five Finger Fillet, which is the game where you put your hand on the table and you have a knife and you have to go back and forth between your fingers, matched to like it's button prompts that you have to do faster than your opponent, but you can't go too fast or you'll cut yourself, and you can't hit the wrong button or you'll cut yourself. There's also horseshoes, which is horseshoes, and arm wrestling.
I did Five Finger Fillet the most.
I think I really liked both like the card games and the Liar's Dice. Those were really fun. But those also, they take a while.
Yeah, that's true.
And like as fun as they are, that's something like, if you want to play Liar's Dice or blackjack or poker, you're like, okay, well, I'm setting aside like at least an hour because it's going to take a while. And that's, I mean, unless you lose quickly, but for everyone else, the computers, they do have varying difficulties, but they do not play around.
Right.
Yeah, I think of all of them, I think, yeah, Five Finger Fillet was definitely, I think, the most enjoyable, especially with how quickly you could play it. We also had dueling, one-on-one Western style dueling. You're basically standing across from a guy waiting for a bell to go off. Once it does, you have to quickly use Deadeye to attack the opponent before they attack you. You can, alternative to just shooting them as many times as you can and killing them, you can just shoot them in the hand and disarm them, which ends the duel. Which, once again, I think a really cool little feature that's added in. Noah, I don't know about you, but I have like no idea how dueling works. I like,
I was gonna say to this day, I still
yeah,
cannot figure out how to
this
win,
day,
how to consistently win a duel in this game.
like I would consistently win, but I don't like any duel. If you like, like playing through like duels like in the story and stuff where you like kill someone, usually they'll like, dead eye like 6 shots on a guy and then shoot. And I'm like, I don't know how you shoot. Like it's not like normal dead eye because there are times when like I would specifically like aim at a guy's head and just do 1x and think, well, that's it. I'm going to shoot him in the head. I don't have to shoot anymore. And like try to do just one shot and then hit like the fire button and he wouldn't shoot and I'd end up dying. So like the only way I would win it is I would just get him in my sight and then just mash the button to use all my shots because then that would usually, once you use the last one, he'll just automatically fire. I have no idea how it works. Although I did do a lot of disarming shots, but even then I was like every time 50% sure, like, oh well, I might win, but I might die.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it was for me too.
But I loved it. I thought it was really cool. Really put you in that mindset of like that kind of tenseness as you're
It's
waiting
true
for it to
because
start and stuff.
you really don't know if you're gonna win or lose.
Do you want to talk about the honor and fame system?
Okay, Red Dead Redemption uses an honor system. It measures how the player's actions are perceived in terms of morality. Morally positive deeds such as capturing an outlaw alive or saving a stranger will add to the player's honor. On the other hand, negative choices such as murdering or robbing will subtract from the player's honor. This works in conjunction with the fame system, which affects how NPCs react to the player. If the player has uh, high honor, NPCs will treat them as a hero, and John will receive discounts in stores and things like that, and people will help him. But if he is bad, people will treat him with disdain.
Yeah.
Also the I forgot about this, but the player can disguise themselves by wearing a bandana when performing criminal acts, and that will help maintain their honor system when committing criminal acts.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought this was a really cool aspect of the game. I also love how, like you said, wearing a bandana literally, like, I'm pretty sure you can still gain fame, but your honor will not be affected by anything. Like, it won't go up if you do good things, but it won't go down if you do bad things. Which, was really funny for me when I was playing through the game. I was going for like trophies and stuff. And it's 1 or 2 trophies, but you have to max out your fame and max out or like get either max honor or minimum honor, as high or as low as you can possibly get it. And the easiest way to do that when I had found a guide was dueling. Like basically, if you go to like the cheapest place where you can play poker, where it's like $2 to enter, something like that. When you play poker, you can actually cheat, but when you cheat, you can get caught. And if you get caught, usually like it's like if you get caught, you'll get like a warning, and then if you cheat again, you'll get like the person you cheat against will challenge you to a duel. And shooting someone in the hand to disarm them gets you both honor, like good honor and fame. And it's like I remember like I was dueling over and over again these like people to build up my honor and to build up my fame. And like I did it for like 2 hours and my honor was not going up and I didn't know what was up. And I finally realized I was wearing the bandana because I just thought the bandana looked cool, so I wore it all the time.
That is so funny.
Yeah, it was I mean, yeah, like I didn't care that I had to duel for like extra time after that because like I said, dueling is really fun. But it was certainly something that caught me off guard.
Yeah, that's stupid. You should have known.
And it's like, yeah, I realized that because I purposefully, like, despite the fact that I put it on because it looked cool, but also I was doing something that required me killing a bunch of innocent people and officers and stuff. And because I didn't want my honor to go down, I was wearing the bandana for that and I just completely forgot about it. No, but I do think it's a cool system of, people will actually react to you. Like the more famous you get, people will recognize you, and whether or not your honor is good or bad, they react to you accordingly. It's really cool. Like, not like obviously integral, but just very, like nice touch of a like kind of reward system there.
Yeah, it's one of those little details.
Yeah, it's one of those like you can be bad if you want to and do whatever you want, but there will be some slight punishments for it. And speaking of punishments, the game also has a bounty system, which is it's like a crime governing mechanic inspired by the wanted system in Grand Theft Auto. Basically, when the player commits a crime, witnesses will run to the nearest police station. You can either bribe or kill them before they reach the station, which negates any consequences. But once law is alerted, the wanted meter appears and a bounty is set on the player's head. The bounty grows higher as the player commits more crimes, and more lawmen will be sent to hunt them. If you commit enough crime, U.S. Marshals will be sent after you, or the Mexican army if you're in Mexico. Working similar to GTA, you can evade law enforcement. Must escape like the circular zone of basically where they know you are, and not let them like not be spotted for an extended time. Or you have to kill all the lawmen in a town, because if there's no one to hunt you down, then you're not wanted anymore. But even if you do escape this like wanted uh, uh, mode, you do still have a bounty on you, and bounty hunters will continuously track you down. Especially the higher your bounty is, more people will come after you. And the bounty remains on your head until you either pay it off at a telegraph station or you can present a pardon letter.
A really nice system. I think they perfected it in Red Dead Redemption 2, but it's definitely done really well in Red Dead Redemption 1 also.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I like, like the lasting
Bounty.
yeah, the lasting bounty thing. I think it's really cool. It's really like, yeah, it's fun that you can just like actually pay it off and stuff, and you can use pardon letters, which no matter how much the bounty is, a pardon letter will just instantly take it away. Yeah, it's cool. I really like it. It's just one of those other things that really adds to the like feeling of the Wild West and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I really like it. It's also kind of like a difficulty modifier, you know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Anyway, so there are also outfits. There are 9 unlockable outfits in the main game, unlocked for different reasons. Usually, and the reason that I put this in as a mechanic, requiring the player to complete a checklist to unlock the outfit, which I went through and got all of the like single player trophies in this game when I played it a few years ago. Just really fun, really enjoyed it. Yeah, I just remember the outfits specifically and wanting to include them because of just how crazy it is to get them. For example, I included one here. Kind of example of what the checklist is like is the Reyes Rebel outfit, where all the things you have to do, you have to search Sepulcro, which is just an area of the map, and find a chest that has like just a scrap of the outfit in it. You have to complete the Stranger side mission, Poppycock, which the Stranger side missions are just they're side missions. Yeah, you just encounter a random person, they ask you to help them with something or do something, you do it, and that's that. You have to complete a horse breaking job in Chuparosa. You have to complete another Stranger side mission. You have to win at Five Finger Fillet in Torquemada, and you have to defeat all opponents. So you have to keep playing until there's no one left to challenge you. And then you just have to purchase a piece of scrap at the general store in Escalera.
I love this mechanic. I love it makes me nostalgic for when you would get cool outfits for completing objectives in a game rather than opening your wallet.
Yeah. No, yeah, some of the outfits were certainly more annoying to get than the others. But I did like it was cool. It's like I don't know, it's like you're just assembling the outfit piece by piece, and it would just, it's just something extra you're doing. It was really cool.
Yeah,
It's like,
if anything, it might be a little tedious, a little bit too
yeah.
much, but
Well, I
it does
think
give you a reason to do like horse breaking jobs and five finger fillets, you know, the horseshoes, that kind of thing you might not do otherwise.
and this outfit specifically is really in terms of all the ones that have checklists, one of the easier ones. There are some that require a lot more. Like there's one outfit, I can't remember it, But I guess an additional gameplay mechanic forgot to mention is there are gang hideouts where you go to this area, turns out a gang is there, and you have to just take out the whole gang in the hideout, eliminate everybody. You can usually find treasure, get some stuff. Yeah, just like a little mini objective kind of thing. But there is a one outfit where to unlock it, you have to defeat every gang hideout in one in-game day.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I did it, and it was hard because like you couldn't fast travel because that advanced time. So literally, it was like I had to like find the best path to do them, and I just had to go do.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so like yeah, the Reyes Rebel outfit is certainly actually one of the easier outfits to get. But yeah, they can get pretty crazy. Now, do you want to talk about online?
Yeah, I think funny enough, I actually played the most of the online, but that's still very little. Red Dead Redemption did have an online multiplayer. It allowed up to
I think
16
it. I
players.
think it still does. I don't think
Oh,
anyone's playing it, but I think servers
oh,
are still up for it.
maybe it still does have a online multiplayer that allows up to 16 players to engage in competitive and cooperative gameplay in a recreation of the single player setting. Each game begins with a Mexican standoff, of which the survivors can move to any part of the battlefield in preparation for respawning enemies. Event types include deathmatch scenarios, capture the flags. Crates in the environment can contain weapons, ammos, and other kinds of power-ups. Online, players can level up and complete weapon challenges, which earn them rewards such as new character models, golden weapon skins, titles, animal mounts, all kinds of things. Multiplayer also featured open world gameplay where players can form or join a group of up to 8 in a posse and pretty much just go around and do whatever in the open world. In some game modes, players are unable to kill each other, though. In the open world game mode, I believe you could set yourself to passive.
Hmm.
Anywho, it's a lot going on in this online, and we, by the time we played Red Dead Redemption, the online was pretty dead. I don't know if it ever was popular.
No, it never really got as popular as like GTA because I think like GTA 4's online was so popular for so long because of the mod support. You know, you could do mods and stuff. But Red Dead Redemption, I don't know about 2, but at least this one did not allow mods. So it was very limiting, and being like a Wild West game, there's not really too much to do. Like you could do like races, stuff like that, but there's just not much to do in the online aspect of it. Like it's not nearly as dense as like GTA 5 online or even like I said GTA 4 online because GTA 4 had the mod support and people love mods.
That's true.
Oh yeah, I have I think maybe 2 minutes of online game experience in Red Dead. I did not play online a lot.
Yeah, right. I don't have much myself. If most
Yep.
of mine is actually the Undead Nightmare Online one.
Yes, we will talk about that. I don't think I ever played that. I think I just watched you play it a few times. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, notable trophies. There are three specifically. I feel like talking about. There are a lot. Like I said, I got all but one of the single player trophies in Red Dead. Uh, like I really enjoyed it. But three noteworthy trophies to me. There is Dastardly, which is place a hog-tied woman on the train tracks and witness her death by train.
I thought it was just Placer, but it's funny that she actually has to get hit.
Yeah, you have to see her get hit. Yeah, no, it's cool. It's like I mean, this is one that we got on accident, just going around, met killing people for fun.
True. I mean, obviously we had hog-tied a lot of people and put them on the tracks.
So anyway, there's also heading south on a white Bronco, evade the US Marshals while riding the Hungarian half-bred horse in single player. This is when I was talking about putting on a bandana because I had to kill a bunch of people. This is what I was doing. So basically, the Hungarian half-bred is a white horse. Do you know what this is a reference to, Noah?
Yeah, this is Tupac, right?
No, that is not
No?
correct.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Whose car is it?
OJ.
OJ, damn. I forgot. But
Anyway, yeah,
yeah,
this is
this is hilarious. This is why I love when developers get clever with their trophies. Like to me, this is the epitome of what a trophy should be.
yeah. No, Rockstar do have a lot of very clever trophies, but yeah, heading south in white Bronco, obviously reference to the OJ Simpson car chase. Um, that happened before either of us were alive, so I can't really speak much on that. But I'm sure if we asked mom, she'd say it was crazy.
I mean, if she would remember, I don't know.
I feel like she'd remember. I think that was kind of a big deal. Anyway, and lastly, the only online trophy that we have in this game, which we got obviously way way back, Red Dead Rockstar. Kill a rockstar or someone with this trophy in a public multiplayer match. I wanted to include this trophy as noteworthy because this is, I think, what might be the worst type of trophy achievement to put in a game.
Oh, is this one of those where you have to kill a developer?
Yes,
I
or
hate
someone
that
who already,
game.
or somebody who already has the trophy.
Right, in Mortal Kombat 11, they had like a player title or something. I saw where it was like beat a developer. Like I hate that. You can't control that at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, because that's like it's one thing, like you said, to have a title. Like I remember like a lot of Call of Duty games that had titles, they would usually have one, they would have one that was like get killed by someone with that title, and then one for like killing someone with that title, or a developer. It's just like having it as a title in a game is stupid to me because it's like, why, what's the purpose? But having it as a trophy is like the dumbest thing.
Yeah, I agree. It could, I mean, it's a trophy that could single-handedly ruin your platinum.
Yeah, like I mean, it's basically like it's like an RNG trophy, Like
Wait, you got it?
this, yeah, we got it.
How did you get it?
This one, I don't know. It was from one of the times that we had played online.
So we just like happen to have it? That's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, it's like, I mean, these are, basically the same as RNG trophies, except they're hypothetically worse because it's something that, like, there's a very small window where getting this
Yeah, the
trophy
odds are
is
so
even
low.
okay. Because it's like at the beginning of the game when everyone's playing it, not a lot of people are going to have it because there are only so many developers. And then, it's like, yeah, it slowly kind of spreads out amongst people. But then eventually, by the time like 2, 3 years after the game comes out, if you're going for it, and this is the last one, unless like you got to be real lucky or find someone to boost with you for it. And I think trophies like this are just the dumbest. Like I don't like multiplayer trophies in general, but these are up there as being the worst.
Agreed.
So anyway, next we're gonna move on to our questions. Favorite moment, Noah?
My favorite moment is the death of Dutch. To me, like the story of Red Dead is about Dutch van der Linde.
Gotcha. Um, Yeah, to me, I would say it's kind of like the big two, I guess. One, obviously, the ending. John dying. That whole sequence is really, really cool. I think the ending is dragged out a bit because after you kill Dutch and you go with your family, you have like 4 or 5 missions of literally just living a farm life, uh, doing farmer stuff before like that final mission, which I think like kind of unnecessarily drags out the end of the game a bit. But I really do think it's really cool. And then also, I love the attack on Fort Mercer, which Bill's initial home base. It's just cool. Like have like I don't really like the mission system in Rockstar games where like you have to do missions for different people, like that pop up, and it's like, oh, the uh, M on the map is U.S. Marshal, and the NW is Nigel West Dickens, and the S is Seth, and you have to like do missions for that instead of like I don't like that just kind of like running around doing favors thing. Uh, but they really do a good job of tying it all together in the end of everyone helping you out. Like the U.S. Marshals attack the base with you. You hide a minigun, like a chain gun, in Nigel West Dickens' like carriage, and you pull up to the fort and like pop out and start just chain gunning people to death. It all really builds up well, and I really like that moment.
That's fair. If there's anything I didn't like about the game, it's that the Deadeye is near impossible to control, especially in a duel scenario.
Yeah, I gotcha. And yeah, like I just ranted about, to me, just kind of the mission system. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. What I don't like about it.
I believe this game is very replayable. I've replayed Red Dead Redemption, I think 3 times, and I've played Undead Nightmare twice. Have you played through it more than once?
The main game, yes. Undead Nightmare, no. I mean, it's like it's one of those games that like I imagine like if I went back and played it, I would absolutely enjoy it. I know that for a fact, but I don't see myself going back and playing it.
That's fair.
Although I
I
like
don't go back and play the main one though.
I really do actually like in the like however long we've had it, like this is probably the game that has existed on my PlayStation 3 for the longest of like we bought the game digitally and downloaded it, including which funny story was you when you were going to buy Undead Nightmare, because it was released as like a separate game entirely because of how popular it was.
Right.
You wanted me to like go half and half on it because we were both like, I don't know, in middle school or high school with no jobs, so no money. And you wanted me to like go half and half with you on it. Uh and I was like, no, I don't really see myself playing. I don't want to do that. And then you were like, fine, whatever, I'll get it. Um and then you called me and you were like, hey, so I accidentally bought the DLC version of it that you need the base game for, but I don't have the base game. And so you like borrowed like $20 from me to buy the base game so you could play the DLC.
That's right, I forgot. So originally I was trying to buy Undead Nightmare itself.
Yeah.
I still enjoy it more than the base game.
Yeah. No, I do I have it I do like have it downloaded on my PS3 with Undead Nightmare, and I like absolutely have the intention of going back and playing Undead Nightmare because like I never played it too much when we initially got it. So it's like I wish I could play it. Like I really want to play it. Yeah, I just always kept pushing it back to play, newer things and stuff. But anyway, speaking of Undead Nightmare, talking about the DLC for Red Dead, Undead Nightmare. There were some online like character weapon packs, whatever. I don't really care about those. They don't matter at all.
True.
Undead Nightmare is where it's at. So very quickly, kind of describe the little story because it was a story DLC. Shortly after being reunited with his family, John Marston's trying to lead a peaceful life with his wife, son, and uncle on their ranch at Beecher's Hope. One stormy night, however, Uncle is nowhere to be found, and the Marstons, assuming he had found shelter elsewhere, go to sleep. In the middle of the night, they are awakened by a zombified uncle that bites Abigail, who proceeds to bite Jack, also turning both of them into zombies. After killing Uncle and tying up Abigail and Jack, John sets out to find a cure and goes to the town of Blackwater in search for a doctor, only to find it nearly abandoned. He runs into one of his former allies, Professor Harold McDougal, who theorizes that a virus has caused the dead to come back to life. After McDougal is killed by a zombie, John encounters other survivors and helps clear Blackwater and the nearby cemetery of the undead before learning that another two of his former allies, Nigel West Dickens and Seth Briers, are supposedly responsible for the outbreak. He meets with both men, who deny any involvement, although Seth voices his suspicions that the Aztecs had something to do with the entire ordeal, tells John to travel to Mexico. John travels to Nuevo Paraíso, only to discover it is in a much worse state than America. He encounters a group of nuns led by Mother Superior Calderon, who informs him that a woman told her Abraham Reyes, whom John had previously helped take over Nuevo Paraíso, is responsible for the outbreak. When John goes to meet with this woman, he finds her attacked by a zombified Reyes, and he kills Reyes. The woman informs John that Reyes triggered the zombie plague when he stole an Aztec mask from some tombs and became a zombie himself when he donned the mask. Venturing into the tombs, John and the woman are able to return the mask to its original place, which stops the plague. The woman then reveals herself as an Aztec goddess and thanks John for his help, offering him one of the 4 horses of the apocalypse to return home. John returns to Beecher's Hope, find Jack and Abigail have been cured, and is happily reunited with them. Months later, following John's death in the game, Seth finds and steals the mask, once again causing the dead to rise from their graves. John is among the resurrected, but because he was buried with holy water, he is now a revenant, keeping possession of his soul. So basically, he's a zombie that has like a conscience, basically. And
Right, you'd
you
still
can
have.
then, yeah, so then you can free roam as Zombie John in Undead Nightmare after you beat it. A really cool little story, really fun.
It is cool, and it's cool how they made it fit into the base game story at the end.
Yeah, yeah, like they made it as canon as you could possibly make it.
But it's one of my favorite. I mean, who am I kidding? It is my favorite zombie game of all time.
One of the best DLCs of all time.
Oh, absolutely. It leans so hard into the ridiculousness of it. You can get
Mm-hmm.
the four horsemen of the
Yeah,
apocalypse
I
as
was gonna say, yeah.
mounts.
You so
There's
it, one of
Sasquatch.
yeah they have Sasquatch mission. You have to kill Sasquatch. They have the four horses of the apocalypse: war, famine, pestilence, and death that you can find and tame. And they all, like war is like a red fire horse that lights zombies on fire as you run by them. All the horses, really cool, such a cool thing. Also, once you tame all four horses, you have death. You then can go to Mexico and kill the Chupacabra, and then after you
Yep,
kill the Chupacabra, you can go tame a unicorn.
exactly. It's super
Like,
cool.
it is just so cool. That's honestly my favorite part of the whole DLC is just that whole thing.
Yeah, mine too.
And
And
also,
I'm still sad that there's no Undead Nightmare 2.
uh, yeah, I unless it's something they're still working on, which I doubt. I really thought. I mean, that's something that like everybody thought was going to be a thing. Everyone hoped, at least. Also added, as you had mentioned earlier, with online, there is Undead Overrun, which is basically like a Red Dead version of the zombies from Call of Duty. Just fight up against waves of zombies until your group is defeated. A lot harder than zombies, I think.
It's really hard.
So, final review. It's it's a really good game. Yeah,
My final
it's
review is that Red Dead Redemption stands today to be the best Wild West game uh, in history.
yeah. I don't really have too many arguments with there. It is absolute masterpiece. Anyway, now we're going to move on to the indie bit, the bit where we talk about indie games.
Yay!
Today, we are talking about Unravel. Uh,
Yay!
yeah, so Unravel, basically, you play as a little yarn creature
Yarny.
known as Yarny. And basically, you're like living out the memories of this woman's life. That's the story. That's the I it,
That's what
really
I
no
got out of it.
yeah no that's it. In gameplay, it's basically like a puzzle platformer. Basic. I would say like it's not like a too difficult puzzle platformer, but that's what it is.
It can get surprisingly difficult sometimes.
Yeah, but I think overall it's not too bad. Noah, did you like this game?
I greatly enjoyed this game. It is tranquil. It's like you said, it's not too difficult, but it's challenging enough. All the maps are really interestingly designed. It's really bright and colorful and sometimes dark and colorful still. Um, in the music is amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I realized when I was thinking about Unravel that like we never really talk about soundtracks of games too much, but man, like the soundtrack in Unravel is absolutely beautiful. It very like I'll also say visually, I did not know too much about this game before playing it. Like I had seen people play the second game. I had seen a let's play of this first level of the second game. And that's it. Like I hadn't seen anything from the first game, so I really didn't know like too much about it. Like I had no idea what the story was about, but I sat down and played this game and I was shocked by how beautiful the game was, like just how good it looked. I did not expect that. And I think the music just perfectly went with each level.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. The music and the design of the maps are what set the mood of the game, the tone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also just Yarny looks so cool. He looks so cute. His yarn is just so detailed. He also like, he like you run out of yarn as you go along. So part of like the puzzle aspect of it is having to like you're slowly running out of yarn, so you have to get to the next tether point to get to more yarn. As you go on, you can tie the yarn to like certain anchor points. You can use it to swing across like anchor points, things like that. I was really impressed by how nearly perfect momentum works in this game.
Oh yeah, me too. When you hit that stride, you really can fly through um all those swinging anchors.
Yeah, like the swinging anchors and then just like running and jumping, like any kind of like of the sections where you have to like run and jump and swing and jump and run and swing and jump. It works so well. Like it was absolutely luscious how well the momentum, like how realistic the momentum felt in the game. And yeah, it's a great game. I did have issues with some level designs, just like small parts of certain levels. I like didn't like there were a few times where I would die. Most of the times that I died in this game, I felt like it was kind of like bullshit. Like it was not my fault, despite how well it's put together. I don't know if you had that.
Nope, I never had that experience. You might just suck.
Nah, I got the platinum.
I don't know if I did.
I guarantee you didn't.
But that's stupid. You should only get platinums for games you love.
I loved this game.
I mean, you really love.
I do.
Anywho. So, for the next indie bit, uh, the next game, we'll see if you'll platinum that one. I haven't looked at the trophies. I am actually selecting a game called The Outer Wilds, not to be confused with The Outer Worlds, which is how I initially discovered The Outer Wilds. They came out around the same time, which was also unfair, and a lot of people were talking about Outer Wilds at that point for being this really spectacular, thoughtful indie game. And I recently have started playing it and I'm enjoying it. I'm excited for you to start it also.
Yeah, I know absolutely nothing about Outer Wilds. When it was first, like I remember first seeing it like in the store. I knew about Outer Worlds only because you were interested in it and you played it and stuff. And I remember the first time I saw Outer Wilds in the PlayStation Store, I thought, "Oh, I thought it was Outer Worlds. Is that Oh, I guess I had the name wrong this whole time." And then you were talking like later you had been talking to me about the Outer Worlds and I was like, "Is it Worlds or Wilds?" I thought it like I keep seeing both. And you were like, "Yeah, no, those are two different games." And I was like, "Oh, okay. That's crazy." Um
Yeah, exactly, because
yeah.
people were talking about them because they came out around the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, and both of them like I still like you were, telling me a bit about it today and you said like you mentioned the home planet and I was like, I didn't even know you go to space in this game. I thought the wilds were like, jungles and stuff.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you, this game is literally all about space exploration.
Oh man, that's yeah, I literally know nothing about this game. I probably know less about this game than I knew about Ghost Runner when you picked that, and I didn't know anything about Ghost Runner.
That's funny. At least that means I'm picking good games.
I suppose so, yeah. But no, I'm excited to play it. The like thumbnail for it looks cool.
It is a very chill game,
Yeah.
but like I said, the concept might take you a minute to wrap your head around. But I'm excited to talk about it.
Oh, and we will talk about it in 2 weeks. So, don't forget new episodes every other Monday. Rate and subscribe. Tell us if you like our show, or tell us if you don't, and tell us why. Tell your friends and enemies about the podcast. And you can follow our Twitter at Superb Gamer Bros. That is SUPERB Gamer Bros for updates on episodes. And yeah, we'll see you guys next game.
Bye.